Okay, so it's been a little bit, it's been maybe a couple of weeks since the last lesson. Uh, After this, there's going to be one more thing I'll do. But today, I just wanted to show you what every single, hopefully, what every single command does. Is it recording?
Yeah.
Okay, every single command does, just so that you know, because we looked at a lot of them, but we did not look at every single one of them. Okay, so. All right, so the very first command or the very first tool, like is on Mac, everything is on the left side. If you use a Windows PC, it's usually, which is much better in my opinion, but it is
Agreed.
always on the top. Okay, but simple, straightforward. We know the line command. What it does when you click it, it just makes a line. Simple, right? And then if you want to make a line with some dimensions, you just point it in the right dimension. Direction. 25 feet. Enter. And as you see, it's wow, 25 feet. It's that big. Simple, straightforward. Making lines are easy, right? Do that, do that, do that, do that. That's it. It's simple, easy. Okay? That's the easiest tool. Now, here comes the fancy stuff. There's another tool called polyline. Poly means multiple, and that's what it is. It's multiple lines as one. What does that do? So if I make a line, and then I do this, and then I do this, and just leave it at that. Okay, so you see when I try to select any line, it shows up as individual pieces, right? Right? And if I need to select all of them, I have to do this or this. But if I want to just select, if I just click on one of those segments, it's just one. Okay, so now how polyline is different than a regular line is, oh, it's selecting half. I don't want to do that. Just a second. No way. 0 inches. All right, so now what is different in a polyline? Like when you select, like let's say I'm drawing this, that, and then I join it back. Okay, good. Now, if I select this one line, the whole thing is selected. Basically, what it's polyline versus a line is, polyline, you can keep drawing. The point where it ends, it eventually joins everything. It's eventually like one big line segment. So it's like a continuous flow. So that's where it has many advantages over just a simple line. And with a polyline, you can do multiple things. So like I said, every time you select any tool, look at the bottom. It gives you certain commands, right? Like it says specify start point. Let's say I'm going to start from here. And then you see there's a whole bunch of options. It says arc, half width, length, undo, width. Let's try a half width. So how do you select that? Just type H, enter. Half width, you'll see what half width means. So right now it says 0 to 0 inches. Right now if I say 5 inches, and the ending width is also 5 inches. Now you see the line. So that's what it'll do. Sometimes if you remember one of those lessons where you made a floor plan and then you made a wall, sometimes people use this instead of filling the wall to make a wall. Okay, you can just simply, for example, if I want to make a 25-foot something, so I'm going to start from here. I put 1 inch, 1 inch, half width. So that is the total wall width right now is 2 inches. So now I'm going to say 25 feet. There's 25 feet. And then I'm going to do 10, there's 10 feet. And then I'm going to do 25 feet again. And then back. Okay? There you go. But one thing I do know, it's always going to give you that issue, so you're going to have to extend a couple of things with these. Oh, what you can do is break it. However, right now we're just trying to look at how these tools work. So Now that's a way to make a wall if anybody wants to. Okay, simple, easy. However, I would still prefer you just make your walls offsetted and then fill it. That makes it so much more easier. Why? Because breaking a wall, adding a door is so much more easier in that than, in my opinion, this one. You can do it here too, but it sometimes gives you some weird shapes. Okay. Polyline, easy. Questions? No? Okay. Circle, simple circle. Right? The most basic circle is like you select the tool, it'll ask you to select any center points. Just do that. If you know how big your circle is supposed to be, great. If not, then what it says, specify the circle's diameter. So 10 inches. There you go. Oh wow, that's a really small circle. There you go. That's a 10-inch circle. Simple? Okay. But like I said, in AutoCAD, you'll see these arrow marks or whatever those things are, which is like a drop-down menu when you click and hold on it. So if you click and hold, there's a whole bunch of ways to draw circles. That was the very first one. There's circle center diameter, circle where you specify the center and you give the radius, where you specify the center or you give the diameter. Whichever works best for you, use that. Circle 2 points. Now what does that mean? Let's say I have this. What? Where did it go? Okay. Let's say I have that shape and I want to fill fill a circle or somehow have a circle which touches these two boundaries. So what I will do, drop down, circle center 2 points. My first point is this midpoint, second is this midpoint. There you go. Okay? Any questions on that?
Sure. Circle 4 points as well?
I think there's definitely 3 points for sure.
Oh.
So, yeah, depending on what shape and what your boundaries are or what's going on, you can choose the appropriate one. Circle 10, 10, if you're good at trigonometry, then use those. Otherwise, most of the time, you will not use these, so don't worry about it. Okay? The last two options, don't worry about it. Now, obviously, rectangular shape, simple rectangle, specify start point. If you know how big you want it, great. Otherwise, if you see the bottom, there's options there. So you can give it an area. If you, let's say, you already know that the rectangular space is supposed to be 500 square feet. So just type 500 square inches here. There it is. I was like, where did it go? There you go. Okay, simple. But if you don't want to do that, then you can just simply give it dimensions, simply D and whatever you need it to do. Yeah.
So do you just type in it says you can select by giving the diameter, and so do you just type that in on this program and it'll just
Yeah.
make it
For the circle, right? Okay.
for the circle or for the rectangle?
Sure. There's two different ways. So for a rectangle, so I selected the tool and I can already give it dimensions like 20 feet, 15 feet. And there you go.
Okay, so it'll literally just supposedly give the right dimensions, but of course on the small scale, on a map scale. I mean,
what do you mean by a small scale?
nothing really. I guess it.
Maybe Judah means if you were typing in those dimensions and then you had the rectangle, you could still extend the rectangle and it's increasing by that same ratio that you just typed in.
Yes. So what happened over here is not like it just gives you small dimensions. Depending on what dimensions you're giving, sometimes I think I'm not catching exactly. Can you repeat that?
maybe like if you were to type in 20 feet by 15 feet
Mm-hmm.
and you had then the rectangle right there, but you were to continue dragging it out, would it be extending only in that 20 by 15 ratio, like not allowing you just to free form the rectangle, but it would be extending by a
Oh yeah,
certain-
a rectangle, when you're scaling it, it'll always take the shape of a rectangle instead of free forming it.
Well,
So-
yeah, I just mean rather than being able to form it anyway, if it only extends, it stays locked in that 20 by 15 ratio.
Now, if you give it a 20 by 15, should only stay 20 by 15.
Oh, okay.
To scale it bigger or smaller, there's a separate tool called scaling.
Okay.
Yeah. When you're not giving it any specific dimensions and you just hit the tool and you want to free flow it, then select your start point and you can free flow how big you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. But if you just want to give it dimensions, 20 feet,
I guess-
yeah.
I guess I'm just kind of used to
Thank
like a paper map, like
Yeah.
how they have the scales there and everything. But I guess since it's an electronic map, like it's not bound to literal.
No.
It'll zoom
Yeah.
out for you.
Oh yeah. CAD is like keep going. The further you keep going, the boundaries. It's like a never-ending extension. I don't know how they program it, but that's how it works. It's just like a universe in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know your dimensions and you put it in, it'll be fixed. But if you just freehand trying to make a rectangle as appropriate, like right now you did not enter any dimensions, I just clicked it,
Mm-hmm.
and now I wanted to, let's see how far I can make it, and you can just keep going and stuff, and going and going and going, and yeah, so that's how it would work.
Question.
Yeah.
Are you able to put a setting of how much length will be, like, for example, 1 cube or something? Like, as you said, you can extend or zoom any amount of any amount.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, is it able, like, to put a setting where, like, a particular cube will be like this much length, for example, like 25 inches or something?
I mean, that's basically giving it a dimension.
Yeah. Is it-
Yeah. So like when you are giving something a dimension, you're putting a limit
I'm
on
not
it.
talking about the object. I'm talking about
The whole screen.
the whole screen.
I'm not sure. I've never tried that. Like,
What's
Do
your
you
question
mean
again?
with the background?
yeah, just
no,
the whole bit.
that's
I think it's
like universe.
Yeah, I mean, so you cannot put a limit to it.
No.
no.
Does it condense it all whenever you print it out?
Oh yeah. For printing, which we'll look at, that would be probably the last lesson.
Mm.
You can set extents on how much you can print.
Okay.
So there's actually options for extents. However, like it is intuitive also. When you're trying to print, it'll print what the design is instead of just the whole. It's not gonna print the whole never-ending universe. It'll print where the drawing is, or the window that you are looking at, or you can set basically this is only from here to here is what I want to print. So you can set those extents for sure. Okay. Any other questions? Is that hopefully helpful? Okay. The polygon command is similar to the rectangle. Enter the number of sides. Let's say I want 6. Specify the center point. That is my center point. Now enter an option. Inscribe in circle I. Ta-da. Okay, so now that's trippy. All right.
So that polygon is all like the same lengths of sides.
Yeah,
On all sides.
polygon depending on the kind of polygon you're making. Like a 6-sided polygon will always have equal sides.
Pentagon will have equal
Like
sides.
like a
Pentagon will
square.
also have equal sides, right?
I'm sorry, what?
A pentagon.
will also have equal sides.
I think so. Let's try that. I think so. Yeah, I think a pentagon also has equal sides. Okay.
Hexagon.
A hexagon should also. I do know that hexagon for sure should have equal sides. Okay. Okay. Now we know the arc tool, right? So if you want to make an arc, oops, select, and that's it. But we all know that there's a few different options. There's arc where you can select 3 points, which works like this: first point, second point, third point. Okay, and then there's a whole bunch of other options: start, center, end, start, center, angle. This, I will say, you have to try and error depending on your situation, which arc works best for you. Okay?
Arcs.
Yeah. Depending on the situation, like sometimes start and end and direction works. Like, okay, I know that this is where it's supposed to start from, and I know this is where it ends. Now, which direction is it supposed to go depends on you. So you can drag it whichever way you want. Okay? So yeah.
So
Yeah.
this would be for, okay, just like if you were making like a curved stage or curved seating.
Yeah.
Or
That would
for
be
an arch.
perfect for that. Yeah, or an arch for a building. Like if you want, I want like a perfect semicircle kind of thing, then you know, you just straight up 90-degree and you see it's like a nice perfect semicircle. So depending on what you want, you can just drag it. Okay, cool. So yeah, so try it out. There's a whole bunch of styles here. Whichever works best for you, you can, for your situation, just try that. I would say practice is the key. There's only so much you can hear, but you have to keep messing around with. If you make a mistake, just delete it. It's fine and start over again. It's
So-
simple as that.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like an advanced program of, you know, the program Paint.
Yeah,
It's
you
like-
can say that. You can say that's a safe way to say it. Okay. So now there's another. This tool's probably one of the newer ones. There is something in CAD called splines. It makes a curvature of different things. You can use it. If you I don't know how much an architectural CAD uses it, but if there's other design CADs, spline's very important. What it does is this. There's 2 different kinds, but let me show you
For
this.
architectural spline is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really.
Yeah, we don't use.
Yeah. So I'll just briefly show it to you. Since you guys are going to be mainly working on floor plans, you probably won't need it unless somebody in the future is going to start designing some devices that you
Like
use.
cars, stuff like that.
Like if you're designing motors, cars, planes use a lot of splines.
Retail buildings with Ford.
Yeah, and engines use a ton of splines. Huh? Wait, what?
Like for the pistons or something.
Yeah.
I'm just putting some
Or
ideas
like-
into your
So this is how it looks.
messing around.
I just click on the, if you see right next to the arc tool, that's where the spline is. Select it. If you hover over it, it'll tell you spline. Okay. So what you do for splines is, think of it this way. You are defining points where a curve is supposed to be within. Okay, that's what I'm saying is this: first point, second point, third point, fourth point. So you see all these points are like the boundaries, and the curve is supposed to form within it. So now if I press enter and leave it, now it's like, okay, I don't like the curve, I want to adjust it a little bit. So just select it and, okay, I want this to be a little bit higher. So what I'll do is just pull that how I like it. Okay? See, now that's how it's going to be.
Oh.
Now if I'm more like, yeah, maybe not like that, I want to put it a little bit over there. Maybe I'll drag this a little bit over here. So that's how a spline works. Okay, this is mainly for design. Yeah, like we said, usually if you're working with floor plans, which most of you are going to be doing, you don't really use it at all.
Because we
But
have
yeah.
certain dimensions that
Yeah.
we are supposed to use. That's not required.
Yeah.
Do they use it for interior designing?
No.
No, mainly.
Interior designing is also used by dimensions. So
We use similar shape, but we
Yeah.
Yeah.
use different tools for it usually.
Yeah.
We
No,
have shape like
yeah.
that.
Now, an example of where it can be, for example, like I mentioned airplanes. Now, if you're making airplanes and you want to make the surface of the airplane, now if you has anybody seen Boeing 747?
Yes.
So if you see the top part has like a bump and then it smooths out.
Mm.
So now that will be a spline to design it. And depending on how you make it, what CAD you're using, you can rotate it. You can make a spline and then rotate it. That will make the whole tube. Okay, so stuff like that. So splining is mainly for like surface. A big use is like a surface design. Okay, so yeah, in case you want to use it, I don't know if ever you come across a moment where you want to use it, that's where it is and that's how it is. You can adjust the curves based on the vertices. The more points you define, the more curves. Okay, like I can quickly keep going. Okay, so it's just a never-ending snake.
Someone needs to buy that on parking.
Yep.
That's a
Alright.
cobra right there.
Okay. Now moving on from splines. Now center line. Now this is something you may use depending on how professional you want your floor plans to be. Okay. There's something called center lines, and if you drop down, there's center mark. Center mark is basically you want to show pinpoint accuracy, like this is the center line, this is where it is. Usually when you're making windows, is you will see a lot of people using center lines, or maybe
For fillers.
super
columns.
thick walls where you want to show like this is where it is.
So when you cut a wall,
Cross section.
cross sections, you use those lines to get an exact midpoint.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So let's say this is the rectangle. Okay? Yeah. Ta-da. Now I'm like, I want to show the mid center. I like somebody says, okay, I need this center line for this. So just select your 2 points. Oh, okay, let me actually walk through. Center line tool right there, hover over it, you'll see it. Click it. First, it says select your first line. Okay, this is my first line. Select your second line. This is my second line. There you go. Okay, instead of you trying to draw that, it will just show you that. It's interesting. Usually, center lines should show dashed. That's very interesting.
So are you showing 2 rooms right now, or the thickness of the wall?
I'm trying to show you the midpoint of
Okay.
the wall. Okay. Because it'll do that with any 2 sides. Oh, I know why it didn't do that, because the drawing was too small. Now let me show you a gigantic rectangle. How about that? Center line. First side.
No, it's on break.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Center line. First side. Second side. It still did not show. Maybe if you change the layer.
You can edit in options.
I mean, there's different kinds of lines.
Yeah.
What?
Dashed.
What is the standard thickness of a wall? Like, do you know?
Yeah.
6 inches and 9 inches for the exterior walls. Exterior wall, it's a 9 inches wall. Interior, it's 6 inches.
If it's brick.
If it's brick. If it's this
Yeah. Which is
Like
Round
drywall.
drywall,
more usual.
3 or 2.
3.
I'm not sure about the US standards.
No, I think you're right. That's what it should be.
No, for the drywall.
Anywhere 2 to 3 inch. Anywhere between 2 to 5 inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for this wall,
That's a
for the office wall,
Yeah. That's most of our office walls are drywalls.
yeah, how much you're paying? What's that?
Those internal walls, that one probably is 2.5 or 3 inches.
Are they just like that? That small splitters piece right there?
No, not all of them are like that. That one was new. I don't remember. Like that one is clearly 5 inches. You can see.
Major.
Okay. Anyway, center line. Okay. Doubts, questions, issues. How that works is this way. Let's say I should have just kept that. Let's say you are making a wall as specified of 5 inches, 5-inch wall. Okay. select your object. Hey, you know what? Why is offset giving
It
you
says
so
6
many
inches
issues?
if it's a brick wall. Or cinder block
Specify
wall like that.
offset distance, which is what I said, 5 inches.
Yeah.
Select objects to offset, and there you go. Something's not right. I'm gonna just select it, offset. I need my 5 inches. Select object to offset.
Move the cursor.
It should do that, but it's not.
Do you have to get the rectangle its own dimensions so it knows what 5 inches is?
Yes, because it's a rectangle and it's fixed. Let me just do this. I'm gonna make a straight one. Oh, what? While we're using a rectangle, let me show you another. Let's say you made a rectangle,
Yeah.
but you want to break it apart. There's a tool called Explode. When you use that, all of them will have individual sides. Like it's not one. Where do you find it? Go to the modify side, and there's a whole bunch. So hover over the last one in the middle row. You can, when you hover over it, you will see the name, right? It says Explode. Click on it. It says select objects. I'm going to select a rectangle. Enter. Now, if you see, it's all different parts.
And you can keep exploding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on all the
If you want
objects.
to edit, you can explode stuff and then you can edit. And
Now
then
let me try offsetting. Arrange it.
Ah.
Okay. You know what? Forget it. Let's go through the other commands. Okay? Confused so far?
No.
Okay. So center line, I'll show you later. One last time. And then construction line. Again, you guys probably will be using this one as well. Construction line, if I show it to you, is like these gigantic lines. There's no end to it. It just goes through all drawings. Basically, if you need reference lines, when do you use construction lines? When you know that certain points are fixed and you want to make certain things based off of those points as your references. Like an example is just a circle that I'm making. So now I'm going to make a construction line along the tangent. So now that line is just going to run all the way through. And let me make another one. Okay, so now you have these reference lines. So what my job is, okay, I know that let's say you're trying to make a column. A column from the top is going to look like a circle. Okay, but if you look at it from the front, it's going to look like a rectangle, like on a 2D drawing. So I'm like, okay, this is the front, but so I'm using its extents, its diameter, and that's where from the front it would look like a square or rectangle. So the construction lines are going to help you make those references. So now this is what it looks like from the front, but now if I use the top view, that's the circle. When you're trying to show what an object is from the top versus from the side, using a construction line super helps. Oh, and there's other uses for it too, like they're just lines. Let's say you're trying to express certain staircase lines that just go through consistently everywhere. Just use a construction line to show your references. You can delete them. So once you make your drawing around there and you know that, okay, everything is like proper dimension, you can delete the construction lines afterwards if you don't need them. Any questions on that? Easy on the construction lines? Okay? Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about two different. You're talking about
Construction lines.
construction lines. So would they be right next to each other? Like if that was the top of the pillar and that was the side of the pillar, would they be right next to each other like that on the map? Or are you just talking about?
No,
are
I'm
you
just
talking about mapping in
snap.
2 different dimensions.
I'm trying to map it in 2
Conventional
dimensions.
snap
So
is
construction lines are mainly
You
used
have
for
a
references.
guideline.
Now that I
You
know
use
that this
before you
is like a
start every
circle,
drawing, right?
and I know that I just
think
want
we
to
don't- we don't
represent
put
this,
both snap
but
in.
on a sideways. So I'm using it, nothing changes. I'm using the same. That's when that's one example. There's many ways of using it.
Yeah.
You will see many drawings where there will be like a room, and then they'll show you construction lines going across. They'll be like, okay, that and that. Usually, you use them when you're trying to signify something. They're references for something, not that they are just drawing. If you see, if I keep zooming out, they just keep extending. Okay, so they're
It's like section or
yeah. An example is, let's say this is a floor. Now that floor, you are trying to completely renovate. Okay, so but there are certain things. Let's say there was like a staircase here and like a column over here. Let me just simply column, staircase. Okay, you can use those construction lines to refer to them, maybe through the midpoint, maybe through their boundaries, whichever one. And then you can draw a brand new modified floor plan right below it, where you're using those references. Okay, those staircases never changed, those columns never changed, so they're right there. And I'm just basically bringing the new drawing from top to bottom and change the other things around it. An example is, now again, I'm making a new floor plan like this, but you see this column, because of that reference, never changes. You see the point I'm trying to make? Those construction lines are going, it's a reference to an object. Something let's keep this in mind. Use it when you know that something is not going to change and you want to show that I want it to be exactly the same place in the next drawing I'm making in below it. I mean, if you're making a brand new drawing in a whole new page, that's a different story.
Do they make it to the final drawing?
No, you can delete it if you want. They don't have to. So yeah. So now you see it's like, oh yeah, they're in the same spot, but the room is now bigger. That's the point.
Oh,
Okay.
Like, when they renovate a room and you make a whole new
Yeah.
CAD drawing for it.
Yeah, exactly. And you need the original drawing or original layout for reference.
Mm-hmm.
You can use construction lines to make your job a lot more easier of where some things are not going to change.
So, like, for instance, like, when we make a whole new CAD drawing for all the floors in Culbertson.
Yeah.
After they renovate them.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. It's a great example. Okay. And if you drop down, there's another one. So it's a simple. It's called ray. Anybody who knows study geometry, there's a line. Line basically, by definition, has no limits. Ray has a starting point, but it does not end. So if this is my starting point, you can go as long as you want. Okay. But you can see that it does not end, but it has a starting point. That's what a ray is. So similar to construction lines, you can use it as appropriate when it's trying to make sense. Like, let's say you wanted to use the starting point of this object as okay. Then we have ellipse. Simple. You start the select center point. Whoever who knows how ellipses work, you need a center point and the vertex, the tallest or the longest version. So when you select that point, a circle is an ellipse, if anybody didn't know. And then when you bring it closer, you can actually see the elliptical drawing. Okay, depending on in construction or architecture, I've never seen ellipses being used unless you're trying to make looks like a sink. You can make a circle in the center.
Or like a big old nuclear plant.
Yeah, maybe. Circle. There. Okay, make a tap here and that's your sink. Okay.
No, it looks like an eye.
Belly button.
Yeah, it looks like an eye too. So ellipses those are the only things I've seen in architectural CAD and ellipse being used for. Okay. Now these are rectangular revision clouds. There's a whole bunch of other options. Now what that means is it's a rectangle, but it's going to look. What is going on today with this CAD?
Did you guys see?
What?
Right here.
They're good diameters.
What? Specify first corner point. Yes, there you go. And then opposite corner point. There. What do you want? Ugh. There. Come on, that should have worked. Today it's this. Let me, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna close it and restart it. Okay, new. Remember when you open a new drawing, what is the first thing you do?
It said dimensions.
Okay.
I mean, architectural.
Yeah.
units.
Units, decimal, architectural. Okay.
Like the layout and the
Yeah.
entire floor.
Otherwise, I mean, basically your drawing is going to be in architectural format, which is feet and inches. By default, if you open it, it's going to be in decimal, which is going to be 1 meters, which United States for sure does not use. But most construction drawings are always in feet and inches anyway, universally.
Really? Even internationally?
Yes. I mean, if it's like a local thing issue, then no. But universal construction drawings are always in feet and inches.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Now there you go. That's supposed to work like that. Okay.
That's when we're trying to do.
It's called cloud revision. Why do you use it? It's actually, this is more like specific for drawings and notations. Clouds usually means you're writing, you make a cloud, use your text box and type in it inside.
Just so people know it's
Yes.
a part of the drawing.
Yeah. Basically, let's say that's the, this is a test. Okay. Yes. There you go. I mean, it's too big, but you get the idea. So they're called revision clouds. Basically, when you're making modifications and you want to put notes, the clouds will, why use clouds? Why not use another different kind of box or something? Clouds basically means thought. You know, like in comic strips, thought bubble. Clouds will, if you're looking at a drawing and you see clouds, you will automatically know by, oh, okay, so there's some notes over there that I should look for. There's something written over there. It's this shape is trying to show that it's an idea.
Is it
of
possible
some
to make a link here?
a link?
Yeah, like a link. For example, when you press a certain object, a certain window will open with like comments or notes or something like that.
Oh,
Hyperlinks or links.
I've never done that, and I've never seen that before. Like a hyperlink inside a CAD drawing is what you're saying.
Hyperlink is sending you to a different spot,
Outside.
but I'm saying like inside it. Like, for example,
Some like comments like in Word and Google Docs.
yeah. For example, there's an object and but there's like some notes need to be noted. For example, it's supposed to be like the certain color or the certain shape, or beware there's a cable behind the wall. You're like press and you can see there's something
Sure.
some note you press on the object and it opens like on
Yeah.
here.
Unfortunately, so that is, you'll need some animation and stuff for that. I don't think CAD has animated style buttons or links for that. But the way there is a standard for denotion, like let's say you want to signify like behind this wall there's Cat6 cable. So there's 2 ways to do it. Actually, not 2 ways. There's like, let's say that's your wall, that's the wall, and you need a leader going to this point, and then you type what you needed, and you can surround it with the thought bubble or whatever you want.
What is it? What is that?
It's called leader. If you see in the bottom, there's like, you see there's an arrow mark pointing, like if you zoom in, you'll see the arrow mark too. So it's like, okay, right around here, and then you type, you see it's kind of showing you the angle. I should have maybe made a bigger one. Let's see. Okay, the center point. Let's say I'm doing this and did that. And now I escaped it because it's already text written, but it shows you can write a text. That's how, unfortunately, is the way to denote something. And what happens is, if you don't want to be shown in the drawing, you can hide that layer. You'll have to make a layer, put the leader in there and the denotions. And when you're done with the drawing, you don't want to show it, that. But if you're opening the drawing, okay, I want to see all the notes in it. You
Okay. Plus, you
check
have
that
the
layer.
layers, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people use just legend, like after they finish the drawing, put some
Yeah.
label, and then at the other side they have like a table.
Yeah, you can make table if you see
Explain
there's a
everything.
table option all the way. in the
This red
bottom.
color means cat 6. This, you know, most of the time I do that.
There you go. It's a table.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess the reason for that is because there's like a standard for how you're supposed to make certain things. So yeah. Okay, wow, we're still in only the drafting side. Point. When you select that option, it basically means you're just marking a point. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a tiny dot there now in the corner where I selected it. You can individually select that point too now. Okay? You're not gonna use it much, frankly, but just so you know. And is there point, multiple points, divide? Let me see what divide does. I never used it. Enter the number of segments. 2. I don't know if it did anything. Okay, forget about divide. You don't probably never gonna use that, frankly. Okay, break line symbol. Again, this is a symbol to show that there is a second point, a break there. Specified location right over there. Okay, basically it's showing that there's a break. If you, yeah. But again, I've never seen many people use. Oh, I've seen it in mechanical CADs in terms of ductwork and stuff, not floor. Well, they're part of floor plans, but the mechanical or electrical side of it. Okay, easy. How do you do it? Let's say you want to show that there is a break in this pathway. So as you see in the bottom, first point, that pathway, first point, second point, right there. And next it's going to ask you, where do you want the break line to show? I'll say the middle, right there. So that just simply means it's telling you that it's broken over there. It's not a continuous line. Okay, cool. 3D polyline I'm not going to show because we don't have actually 3D CAD, so there's no, you can't see it. You won't be, it'll show up as 2D, but you won't be able to see it. Okay. And then there's this very weird thing called donut. Yeah, it's like a circle, inside diameter 5 inches, outside diameter 2 inches. There you go. There's your donut. Okay.
Can we change the color?
Yeah, depending on the layer.
Do people ever use donuts as for a column?
For what?
For a column? Column?
Maybe you want, if you can, but I've never seen it. Maybe you can try though. Maybe you can try. I mean, especially, yeah, maybe if you want to try, you can use it. Unless you know that it's a hollow column. Otherwise, just use a circle. Okay, there you go. Some people use it in automobile design for wheels, if you want.
You need for a CAD drawing of a Dunkin' Donuts. Like,
People use
Yeah,
CAD
there
for
you go.
drawing cars?
Oh yeah.
It's wrong.
Apart from architecture, you can use it for other design stuff. Like we were talking about planes, you can use it for designing planes and stuff. Okay, finally, the drawing side is over. You guys already know what hatching is, right?
Except for doors.
No. Like, this is a boundary, like a rectangular shape. Now I want to fill this inside.
Oh,
smile.
Why is there smileys here?
Why are there emojis?
Yeah, that's actually an excellent question. That was not there when I was a student. We were not allowed to smile.
You're not allowed to
Select
make your
that.
CAD drawings silly.
Okay, select hatching. So now if you see, there's many different kinds. Right now you see it's like diagonal and it's spaced out. What it means is, now I want to designate, let's say you have a room and you want to symbolize that this particular room in this color needs to be demolished. Okay? Let's say. So, as you see, you need to first pick a point. Okay, I'm gonna pick a point. That's it. That's hatching.
This room has to be demolished.
You see, it's like all diagonal. So,
Sorcery is this?
No, I don't want to do it outside. So that's basically called hatching. Because though even does anybody draw or sketch here? Okay. If you've seen those, there's a specific style of sketching called hatching, where they use these hatch lines to shade. Okay, that's basically where it comes from. Let me give you an example, a better example. Let's say that, and then I'm going to draw something like that and that. Okay, now I'm like, okay, I want to. I've done this in the past when I used to work here in a CAD way. Let's say you will get requests like, I want to find out the area of both these spaces, but don't show it on the side. Make a legend and show it to me and stuff. Okay, so this is what I would do. Select your hatch. Let me change the color. Red. Okay. Now the next one, I want to do green. No, not that. Let's leave that as green, and then that one, and I'm gonna change as red. Why is both change as red? Oh, I have an idea because it's all part of one hatch. That's why. Okay. Select hatch, red, enter. Good. Now select hatch again. I'm gonna change the color to yellow. There. Okay, done. So now you like separated two areas in different hatch colors. Now what I would do is like make a legend over here. If you see the red hatch, it's 200 square feet. Yellow hatch is usually 300 something, you know. Or if you're trying to denote something else, let's say you just want to show a rough diagram. It's like, okay, whatever is in red, destroy it. Whatever's in yellow, keep it. So sometimes in things like that, hatching helps to give you a visual perspective of what needs to be kept, what needs to be kept. So let's say you are working on your low voltage side. You can designate like the red rooms have nothing and needs to be worked on. The yellow ones have all Cat 6, whatever. The red ones have this, you know, that kind of idea. So you can use it for that. And the other thing I did show, you can use it to make your walls as well. So I'm just gonna roughly make something. Right, so now I'm like, okay, I need to make a wall. I'm gonna select that, but I don't want these dashed lines. I want like a solid wall. So go for drop down menu, solid. Usually we denote at Moody with that. So there you go. There's your wall. Done.
Should we make separate layers when it comes
Yes.
to hatching?
Yes.
Like just a layers just for the
Yeah.
hatches?
Yes. In fact, depending on if there's hatches that mean different things, then multiple layers. Whatever they mean. Okay? Simple. There's gradient also, like if you don't like this, I'm gonna pick that phone later. And then there you go. You can change the colors, whatever.
Wow.
It's basically, let's say you're trying to show like this room is from cold to hot. There you go.
It's hot
Right?
inside of the room.
You can use it, be creative if you need
From
to.
poison to cold.
Okay. Do we need that boundary? No, I guess yours should be okay. I've never seen any architecture guide using that. Too much overwhelm. Could take a break. The rest of the commands I can do next week. Okay? Okay? Now, but you're not leaving. Okay?
Oh.
Never.
Every single tool that I showed you, do it.
Yes, sir.
In your mind.
Right now?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Or right now or today.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, there's no point if you're not gonna practice it. You're gonna forget it. So every single, just hover over it, see what it does, play with it. If you have questions, ask me. Or ask. Oh, I thought you went down there. Ask Diego or Norina.
Maybe.
Okay? Alright, it's your turn. Oh, wait, stop screen recording.
No.
Oh.